hydropower forecasts were not accurate during the floods that severely affected in Quy Chau. Quang Ninh ranks first nationwide in attracting FDI capital. Israel making significant achievements in Gaza, but paying a heavy price.
Hello, you have just watched some bulletins of today's news. From now on, today's news is on NTV channel at 22:20 every day. Don't miss our hottest English news of the day. For the first show, let's begin with the significant losses due to flash flood in Hà Tĩnh province over the past days. Up to now, some downstream areas of Huangpu district, Hà Tĩnh province are still flooded. According to statistics, the gardens of more than 5,400 households have been submerged, more than 860 households and 8 schools have been flooded, and dozens of hectares of crops have been submerged also. Currently, a number of communes in downstream area of Polo hydroelectric power plant have been still in deep water. In the upstream area of Huangpu district, the floodwaters have receded so far, but the downstream communes of Dien My, Ha Linh, and Lộc Yên have been isolated. Hundreds of houses are deeply in water. To date, floods left 2 people dead and 1 person missing in Huangpu district. Regarding the floods at the end of September that severely affected Quy Chau district, the Department of Industry and Trade had just reported the results of inspection of flood discharge operations of Châu Thắng and Nhan Hạc hydroelectric dams and reservoirs. Accordingly, the interdisciplinary team pointed out that the forecasting work of these hydroelectric plants is still passive and inaccurate.
The flood discharge of Nhan Hạc and Châu Thắng hydropower plants in September 27th was in accordance with single reservoir and inter-reservoir operating procedures. However, both hydropower plants did not do a good job of forecasting to give early warning to people in the downstream areas. In particular, Châu Thắng hydropower plant discharged floodwaters overnight before sending a report by Gmail to the Provincial Steering Committee for Natural Disaster Prevention and Search and Rescue, as well as the People's Committees of Quy Chau and K Phong districts and other units according to regulations.
The North-South High-Speed Railway has a total inspected length of more than 1,500 kilometers. Along with Nha Trang Ho Chi Minh City section, the Hanoi-Vinh section has had an investment roadmap up to 2030. Being announced by the government recently, the roadmap helps give a clear development orientation of the country's railway transportation up to 2030 with a vision to 2045. Accordingly, in the period up 2030, the priority is given to start construction of North-South High-Speed Railway project in the sections Hanoi-Vinh, Ho Chi Minh City, Nha Trang. By 2045, the entire North-South High-Speed Railway will be completed and put into operation. In the national railway system, related to Nghệ An, the high-speed railway section Hanoi-Vinh has an estimated length of 281 kilometers with a track of gauge of 1,435 meters. In addition, the railway branches connecting a number of seaports, including Cửa Seaport, will also be built in the national railway system with an investment roadmap until 2030 and after 2030. In 10 months of this year, Quang Ninh has surpassed Hanoi, Haiphong, Ho Chi Minh City to lead the country in attracting FDI.
The total registered investment capital is nearly $3.09 billion, accounting for nearly 12% of total registered investment capital and increasing by 41.3% over the same period last year. FDI capital in Quang Ninh increased sharply due to the increase of the amount of registered capital for new level projects. In October, the province issued investment certificates for 4 new projects with total registered capital of more than $2.2 billion. With the advantages of good infrastructure, convenient transportation, stable human resources, efforts to reform administrative procedures, and dynamism in investment promotion, Quang Ninh is increasingly asserting itself as one of the leading provinces to attract FDI capital of the country.
Upcoming are some significant news.
Nghệ An Provincial People's Committee has just issued a plan to implement the project of investment and construction of at least 1 million social housing apartments for low-income people and industrial park workers in the period 2021 to 2030. Nghệ An has strived to complete the construction of 28,500 social housing by 2030 in accordance with the project's assigned targets, of which 9,000 social housing for low-income people, 19,500 social housing for industrial park workers. According to this project, the allocation of social housing for low-income people will be deployed in 7 localities, including Vinh City, Ghi Loc, Qua Lo, Hung Nguyen, Tai Hoa Town, Hong Mai Town, and Du Luong District.
The University of Maryland Medical Center, USA, announced that the second person in history who received a genetically modified pig heart transplant has died 6 weeks after the experimental surgery. Lawrence Fawcett, 58 years old, came from Maryland. The pig heart that transplanted to Fawcett has had some genes modified and human genes added to prevent rejection. Last year, the University of Maryland Medical Center completed the world's first pig heart transplant for 57-year-old patient David Bennett. This person survived for 2 months with new organs, then died of infection with swine virus.
Saudi Arabia is set to host the 2034 Men's FIFA World Cup after Australia withdrew its interest in hosting the global showpiece just hours before the bid deadline on Tuesday. This information has just been confirmed by FIFA President Gianni Infantino. In addition to Saudi Arabia, many Asian countries have expressed their intention to run to host the 2034 World Cup in the form of a co-hosting alliance. However, no official proposal has been sent to the World Football Federation. Previously, some Southeast Asia countries such as Indonesia, Malaysia and Singapore had intended to join bid with Australia, but in the end they all withdrew.
The war in Gaza Strip is becoming complicated as the Israel army operates deeper into territory run by Hamas. Israel's Minister of Defense today said that the Israel Defense Forces are making significant achievements in the ground campaign in the Gaza Strip, but they are also paying a heavy price.
We are deploying forces on a large scale, deep in the Strip. There are battles against the forces that are operating in Gaza, and the results and achievements on the battlefield are very high. Unfortunately, in war, there are also prices, and the prices in the last day were heavy prices. Despite that, we are also determined to continue and win.
The Israel Defense Forces said the country's warplane struck the largest refugee camp in Gaza and killed Ibrahim Bairi, a key commander of Islamic Hamas movement, which is involved in the attack on October 7 aimed at Israel. 2 soldiers of this country were killed and 2 were seriously injured. Declaring after the airstrike on the Zabalia refugee camp, Hamas warned that Gaza would become a graveyard for the Israeli army and announced that they would release a number of foreign hostages in the next few days.
Gaza will be a graveyard and a quagmire for the enemy, its soldiers, its military and political leadership.
Well, it's the end of the show today. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.